Je bent wat je koopt. En wat de grote reclamemakers van de wereld verkopen, zijn al lang geen producten meer. Geen dingen die je vast kunt pakken, maar ideeën, imago's. Een voorgefabriceerde identiteit voor wereldwijde consumenten. In Amerika, in Canada en nu ook in Europa verzet een groeiend aantal burgers zich tegen de dictatuur van de grote merken. Alternatieve reclamemakers bestrijden de vijand met zijn eigen wapens. Met hun pennen, hun toetsen en hun kennis van commerciële vormgeving. Wie merken kan maken, kan ze ook breken. Adbusters, No Logo en Nederlandse anti-mercials in deze aflevering van het actieve Bonanza.
People have a very strange relationship to advertising. Everybody thinks that they personally are not affected by it, but they think everybody else is, right? Everybody else is a dupe. Everybody else is buying things because they're told. They, however, are completely immune. And it has to do with how images make you feel about yourself on a particular day, certain, but also certain atmosphere. I mean, I think, walking around in Soho in New York, I think is to be in a constant state of longing.
Yeah, this was written right at the beginning in 1990 or so. The Culture Jammers Manifesto. We will take on the archetypal mind polluters and beat them at their own game. We will uncool their billion-dollar brands with uncommercials on TV, subvertisements in magazines, and anti-ads right next to theirs in the urban mindscape. We will seize control of the role and function that corporations play in our lives and set new agendas in their industries. We will jam the pop culture marketeers and bring their image factory to a sudden shuddering halt. And then on the rubble of the old culture, we will build a new one with a non-commercial heart and soul. There was one moment, it happened 12 years ago, right here in Vancouver. I had been making documentary films for about 15 years and getting a little bit unsatisfied because I wasn't convincing anybody. And then suddenly the forest industry here in British Columbia, which is the biggest industry, they suddenly came up with this $6 million campaign to convince British Columbians that they are doing a fantastic job managing our forests. So we said, okay, the time has come to make our own TV campaign. So we came up with our own fantastic 30-second TV spot that said that we are already cutting too much and that forest forever is a big lie and we should start thinking about sustainable forestry here in British Columbia. And then we went to all the TV stations that were airing the forest industry side, and we were absolutely dumbfounded when none of those stations would sell us any airtime. We weren't asking for free airtime. We wanted to pay money for that time the same way as the forest industry was paying. But all the stations said no. And for me, this was my moment of truth when I realized that in this fantastic democracy here in North America, there is no democracy on the airwaves. And that was the moment when I decided to start a magazine and to start this non-profit society and everything else that's happened ever since.
Your living room is the factory. The product being manufactured is you.
We were just angry. And there was 3 or 4 of us who were very passionate and very angry. And first of all, we just had a newsletter And then suddenly that newsletter turned into a little magazine, and then by the third issue the magazine was already selling across Canada, and by the seventh issue the magazine was already selling right across North America. Suddenly our circulation was climbing up to 15,000. And we had lots of volunteers, lots of people who shared our anger. And it just felt like a work of passion. We didn't know exactly where we were going, but we kept on going, and the momentum kept on building, and now, 10 years later, we have a circulation that's almost 100,000. We have a magazine that sells for $5.95, and it's growing by 2,000 or 3,000 every issue. So no planning, just anger, fueled by anger.
As companies have invested more and more in image and divested from production, it has become an increasingly popular activist strategy to very consciously create uncomfortable juxtapositions between the promise that a company projects, the image, its facade, and the reality of how those products are produced. In effect, to pelt the facade with the reality of production.
Today in North America, I think it's a little bit better in Europe, but in North America, if you add it up very carefully over a 24-hour period, then there are 3,000 marketing messages every day coming into your brain. That means if you add up the TV spots and the radio spots in your car and the billboards you're driving by and the logos on our shirts and on the buildings and on our appliances, if you add it all up in a 24-hour period, it comes to 3,000 marketing messages a day. And this is how you grow up in North America. 3,000 marketing messages a day telling you that it's okay, if you want to be happy, buy a car, have a Big Mac, do something. And so they have created that kind of a meaning. So if you want to make a cultural revolution, then you have to create a different kind of a meaning.
The average North American consumes 5 times more than a Mexican, 10 times more than a Chinese person, and 30 times more than a person from India. We are the most voracious consumers in the world. A world that could die because of the way we North Americans live. Give it a rest. November 24 is Buy Nothing Day.
You start creating what I call cognitive dissonance. You start saying things which create moments of truth for people. So, what was that? Buy Nothing Day? What does that mean, Buy Nothing Day? Isn't that a bunch of bullshit? What does it mean, Buy Nothing Day? But if you think about it, then you realize that maybe there's a connection between buying and the killing the planet.
And there is this furious idea trade and this disassociation between idea and belief, between idea and action. And ideas are just picked up, stuck here, stuck there. Oh, that's a good idea. That's it. We'll use that for Benetton. We'll use that for Nike. And it creates, I think, a powerful dissonance within the culture, and it breeds a greater cynicism in the end, even though I believe that many people go into it with the best of intentions. That when ideas are divorced from belief, when they are taken totally out of context and used to sell running shoes, treated as raw commodity, and privatized, I think it creates a very deep alienation, and we lose something truly precious and public. So I think that the social responsibility in design at this point in history is to carve out public spaces, and to help in that project, which is a project that is ongoing on many different fronts and desperately needs designers and artists